Welcome, NFL fans. What's up? This is another week of NFL Chat brought to you by www.sports-kings.com. I'm Andy Flint, as always. Along with me this week, I have John Juddy. What's up, buddy?
I'm still here. Twitter, JJ_SK28.
That's the first time John's talked in like the 20 minutes we've been on this Google. He's a little tired. Cody White is also with us this week. What's up, man?
Hi. I hate Tim Brady.
Tim Brady?
The league? Yeah, never mind.
I haven't watched yet, man, this week.
That's from last year.
I know. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, man.
It's on my DVR, man. I got too much stuff going on. My life is like a busy train wreck sometimes. Anyways, we have a good show. No league spoilers, I promise you, because if anybody does, they're getting muted. It was a good Week 6 in the NFL this week. We saw a lot of good games, saw some big injuries. We're not really going to get into that. The first thing we're going to get into is the Cowboys running back, and we are not talking about DeMarco Murray for his excellent play this season, although he's been stellar. We're talking about Joseph Randle, busted shoplifting cologne and underwear from Dillard's department store that was in Texas, in Frisco is the name. So, John, what do you think about this whole debacle? How are you in the NFL making, at least hundreds of thousands in your shoplifting cologne and underwear?
Maybe they just do it for the love of wanting to go do something risky. All these celebrities getting caught shoplifting. It's stupid to me. I don't think it's gonna matter to the Cowboys because they got that one kid. What's his name? The guy that sliced up Seattle's defense this week.
DeMarco Murray.
So,
he sliced up a lot.
I don't think it matters to the team. I think he's a moron, and you're an idiot. They should suspend him for the rest of the year just for being stupid.
And to be fair to your team, DeMarco Murray slashed everybody up this year. Cody, Your thoughts on the shoplifting, the Winona Ryder?
I was gonna call it we're gonna do a little more update. Call it the Amanda Bynes. That's the new trend. She's a Steeler now. But hi Dave. Way to walk through the shot. Anyways, so I got down here that he makes a base salary of $495,000 a year. That's not a lot of money for an NFL player, but for a pair of underwear and cologne, I'm gonna take a page out of ESPN. Come on, man, really? Like seriously? It's underwear and cologne. I got it right here. The underwear was $39 for a 2-pack, and the cologne was $84. Don't. The guy's got good numbers for being behind DeMarco Murray. 16 carries, 113 yards. I mean, he had a big 50-yard gain against the Seahawks this week. And unlike John, I think it actually hurts the Cowboys a little bit because now DeMarco Murray's got to be on the field more. You don't have a reliable back when DeMarco gets tired. So I think it's really dumb. And with the way the NFL is going, he's going to be suspended. He's obviously was caught on camera, so he's going to be convicted. But it's stupid. You're making a lot more money than I ever think about making in a season. So, and I don't need underwear that bad. Nope.
And Cody said he's making more in a season than he would make, implying that Cody has a chance to play a season for some sort of salary or something here in the NFL.
Yes, I would. Tight end for the Buffalo Jills.
For who? Is that even a real team, or did you just make that up?
The Buffalo Jills? No, actually, they're suspended right now too.
All right. Well, anyways, I mean, they do have Lance Dunbar on that roster. He's probably ahead of Joseph Randle on the depth chart anyway.
He is, but Randle's been having some decent carries. You know what I mean? He's average. I think I got an average of like 6-something yards a carry or something like that.
Sure. Well, I mean, here's the thing though. I mean, he makes 400-some-odd thousand a year. You dug up there. I mean, I don't make a fraction of that, and I don't shoplift underwear and cologne. I mean, what's next? He's gonna steal a pack of bologna and some tube socks or something. Like I don't get it, but I do agree that this might hurt Dallas a little bit, but with Dunbar as the backup, and they can probably pick up somebody as productive as Joseph, maybe a free agent or some sort to fill that third role. Let's jump into the next category. We're gonna do a 2A, 2B here. We're talking about Brian Hoyer and Johnny Manziel. We want to talk about who is their long-term future quarterback, and I'm going to let everybody choose here and explain to us why. We'll go to you first, Cody. Who's the long-term answer for the Browns out of these two? Obviously, don't say neither of them.
Well, before this week, I probably would have said, you got to give Manziel a shot just because I mean, you drafted him high. You need it. But the way Hoyer is playing right now, he just destroyed the Steelers. Just flat out destroyed them. 217 yards, 113 QBR I got here. And let's see, this year he's got 1,224 yards, 7 TDs, and only 1 interception. Those are pretty good numbers. So I'm going to have to go with the Hoyer for now, simply because you don't fix something that's not broke. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Just let it be. I mean, Manziel can keep going out doing his little. He comes in for one play a game for like a fake punt return or something.
He's got the Michael Vick role.
Yeah, the Michael Vick role, whatever it is. So I think Hoyer's the man right now. I see him. Honestly, I got the Browns probably winning that division this year now. I didn't in the beginning of the year, but maybe now. I mean, now I think I do.
You got him winning over Cincinnati still?
Yeah, way since Dave's been playing lately. I mean, got crushed by the Patriots. They went by last week, but I still think the Browns, they just destroyed the Steelers. Destroyed them.
Steelers have been hot and cold, though, too.
Yeah, and the Browns are the comeback kings, you know what I mean? We talked about it last week. They keep coming back. They won't go away. They're like that bad itch you got down south that comes back every few months you can't get rid of.
Easy, okay. So you're going with Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
Okay, John, let's go to you. Who are you going with long term, Johnny Manziel or Brian Hoyer? Johnny Football.
Before I do that, I kind of agree that the Browns win the division because it's, in the words of Jim Rome, I don't know why I remember this from Sunday, it's a countdown 11 weeks until the annual Bengals wild card loss. So, but,
I don't know why you would ever listen or regurgitate anything Jim Rome says.
Yeah, it was just hilarious to me. I don't know, whatever. But I mean, I don't think he's as good of a quarterback as like the world is making him out to be right now, just because he's playing great. But between him and Manziel, I'm gonna go him all day. I really do. I feel like Manziel's the new Tim Tebow. He's probably gonna get traded somewhere and then start a game or two, and then just like get traded again somewhere and just not be in the league anymore. I don't think he's that good of a quarterback, honestly. I don't think his game transitions well to the NFL. But between those two, Hoyer, I think you get a better team around him, and I think he's a perennial All-Pro.
Well, I think if you get Josh Gordon around him, it makes a world of a difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, we're waiting to, we're anticipating that. And as far as the comparison goes, Tebow kind of came to my mind really fast too, but then I got rid of it because, the time Tebow was ultimately replaced was after he got to play, A, which Manziel hasn't really had that opportunity yet, and B, it was for Peyton Manning. So I feel like this could almost be more of a closer situation to Kyle Orton and Tebow, where Orton was the starter. And despite playing, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Orton was playing pretty well in Denver before Tebow took over. Then Tebow played some games, ultimately won a playoff game against the Steelers. I guess they're just getting beat up in this conversation.
I love
so maybe it's like that. Maybe the fans with their build, because that's what they did in Denver. They had the billboards up for Tebow, and they were going nuts. Maybe those fans could, kind of turn against Hoyer like they did with Orton in Denver and be on the Manziel bandwagon and get him in there. But ultimately, I'm going with Hoyer too. Not only does he look better than Johnny Manziel, obviously, which is why he's playing, he looks better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league right now. So I had written down here, Cody, I think you already said it, but I'm just going to say it again. Over 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception for Hoyer so far, which is pretty excellent. 7 TDs to 1 pick. It's kind of looking like Nick Foles-ish from last year a little bit. Nick Foles-ish is what I meant to say. All right, so we all went Hoyer.
Real quick, the issue I have, though, with the Hoyer thing is he's probably, as good as he's played, he's still going to be on the most thin ice in the league of any quarterback, I think, because he has superstar Johnny Manziel behind him. And that kind of stinks that he's going to always have that pressure, unless he's the guy that can, grab a hold of the pressure and, take charge because of that, get stronger. But he can't make a mistake because they will eat him alive. We know how Cleveland fans are. Just ask LeBron when he left. So.
Well, he's not good. He won't make any mistakes. They're going to win the division, aren't they?
Well, yeah, but you have one bad game, and you know how Cleveland fans are. They call for most football team fans, I will say, and they call for your head. And then when you got a guy who's supposed to be a superstar in the league someday backing you up, it's hard. He can't mess up. Simple as that. If he messes up, I think they go with Manziel, but Hoyer should be the guy.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be the allure of what could be with Manziel, especially if Hoyer plays bad. I agree. John, what do you want to say?
I think, too, even if they start losing and it's not his fault, they're going to call for his head and put Manziel in there. So, yeah, I agree with Cody. Those are some rabid fans over there in Northeast Ohio.
So the part 2 of this is it's going to be the same question, but now we're talking about Robert Griffin or Kirk Cousins. We'll go to you, John. Who do you think is the long-term answer there of those two?
Cousins. Is that a real question?
Obviously, it's not a fake one.
Well, it might be. I don't know. I might still be asleep dreaming this. No, RG3, he doesn't, I don't know if you know this, he doesn't have knees anymore. It just goes straight shin to thigh. So he doesn't, no, there's no way.
So how tall is he
now?
Cousin
hasn't looked great lately, but
he's like 5'7" these days?
5'2".
Wow, so his knee bone is like...
Hey, it works for Russell Wilson.
Okay, so you're picking Cousins, no contest.
Yeah, just easy.
Now, see, with me, it was difficult. It was a hard choice because of what RG3 has established his rookie year. I'm going with Kirk Cousins only because Kirk Cousins has been healthy. He's been staying healthy. His numbers aren't much better than RG3's rookie season. Actually, they're probably worse. I think he fits the Skids' offense pretty well for a team that, was kind of reeling after RG3 got hurt. He's doing all right to fill in. I got 1,500 yards, 10 TDs, and eight picks. Not the greatest, but I got to go with Cousins simply because he can stay healthy, or he hasn't been hurt yet at least. So in RG3, he's proven that he just gets hurt over and over and over, and you can't be a future of a team if you're injured all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying, and I do feel like the injuries are all obviously going to play a role ultimately. But I mean, I think in terms of like your long-term answer, I mean, you can't see that. It's kind of blurry. No. It's RG3. Come on. Here's the thing: is Cousins had this chance. There were people before RG3 was hurt this season, and I've heard people in the offseason leading up to the season talking about how Kirk Cousins should be the guy anyways. Okay? So RG3 had that playing against him, plus the fact that he couldn't stay healthy. Then he gets hurt, and it's like, dude, this guy's in trouble because now Cousins is going to step in and save the day. Cousins kind of stepped in and stunk it up, didn't he? I mean, isn't that what's going on?
He's had a little bit here and there.
I mean, I think 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 8 picks is miserable. I don't, and it's, to me, what any coaches in that organization, or any of the execs or anybody, if they were already pro RG3, this is just going to be more the reason for them to be like, look, Cousins, I guarantee you when RG3 is healthy, he's starting. And that could be like, well, we'll talk about that later. It could be sooner than expected.
There's no doubt about that he's going to be starting again. I thought the question here was, what's the future?
Well, yeah, no, I'm just using that as part of my argument.
Okay. Because if RG3 is injured all the time, he can't be the future quarterback. He's not the guy.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he'll be injured. I think he's going to be okay. I mean, there's another guy I can recall a few seasons ago came into the league and was hurt for the majority of his first 2 seasons. That was Matt Stafford. And now he's established himself as not getting in. I mean, he's been healthy like 3 seasons straight. So I think, while RG3 is a different kind of a quarterback, I don't want to make that comparison. I just think, guys do, as often as we see guys get injured, Derrick Rose, Kobe, guys like that, and they just don't come back. I think there's a flip side to that coin. Guys do come back from a couple injuries here and there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going RG3. So 2 Hoyers, 1 RG3. Or, I'm sorry. 2 Cousins, 1 RG3. We all swept with the Hoyer question. Do you guys have anything closing on RG3 or Kirk Cousins before we go to the next question?
RG3, drink some more milk, buddy. Get those bones big and strong.
That's wrong. So John's about to pass on it. Let's go to our buy-sell portion. We do this every week. We pick a few things, and we buy them or sell them. Everybody understands how this works, except John Judd.
I don't.
We'll see if he gets it this week. All right, are you guys ready? I'll go to you first, John, and the first one is going to be the Cowboys winning the NFC East. Buy or sell?
Wait, am I buying or... No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm going with the Eagles. I'm selling it. I think that it's not December yet when they melt down every single season. I think they've got a good structure in place there with the team, with DeMarco actually running the ball, and their defense is stepping up huge. I do think they make the playoffs. But I'm going to go with the Eagles winning that division.
All right, buy or sell, the Cowboys winning that division, Cody.
I hate doing this, but I have to agree 100% on John, and my card says the same thing here. The I got the Eagles winning it, and it's because it's not December yet. We don't have the Tony Romo choke yet. And just like last week, we talked about Tom Brady, and he until he proves me he's not an elite quarterback for a whole season, he's still an elite quarterback. Tony Romo has to prove he doesn't choke before I believe that he's not going to choke. So I am selling the Cowboys. They're going to make the playoffs, I think, but they're going to lose in the wild card.
Okay, so what did that piece of paper say again? Can we see that again?
Yeah.
Oh, because I didn't read anything on it. All I got from that picture or from that card is that you listened to Drake.
Yes.
Pink card. Okay, yes. So I am going to – I'm going to buy this. I'm buying the Cowboys winning that division. I think because despite the meltdown that may still happen, they are a different team. They don't rely so much on Romo throwing the ball necessarily. DeMarco Murray is the best running back in the NFL at this moment, this point in time. He's playing like it. That offensive line is the thing to me that's really stepped up. And the defense. They lost like Sean Lee. They got rid of Ware in the offseason. And people expected them to take a step back, and they're like 10 times better. So I'm buying it. I think Philly is a weak team for that record they hold right now. I do not. I think there's a lot of teams that can beat. All Philly can do is score. They can't play any defense, and now they have injuries. Sproles. I mean, LaShawn McCoy hasn't looked like LaShawn McCoy. Nick Foles does not look like the Nick Foles that he was last year, per se. I think he looks good. I think they're a weak team. All right, let's go to the next buy or sell, and that is RG3. We just talked about him. RG3, will he be back? There's reports saying RG3 could be back for Week 8. Will RG3 be back for Week 8? Buy or sell, Cody?
I am selling it. And it's simply because they need to not let him come back for Week 8. There's no way with all of his injuries he's going to be. He can't be 100%. I mean, bring it back for Week 10 or 11 if it's important for playoff wise, which I don't think it's going to be. But if he's your quote unquote franchise QB, you want him to be 100% healthy and not put him in there till you absolutely need him to. Because as of right now, he is their franchise. That's a given. So I think you gotta hold him out till he's absolutely needed to. And if you have a subpar season where there's no way by Week 10 you're making the playoffs, sit the guy, let him rest up, get fully rested, and come back strong again next year.
All right, on to you, John. What do you think? Buy or sell RG3 coming back as early as Week 8?
I verbatim completely agree with Cody. The team's relevant in a few weeks, then yeah, more power to you. Bring him in. Week 10 or 11, but if the season's lost, just sit him the rest of the year. I don't see any reason to risk his health for a lost season.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this too. When you're 1-5, at least get to the bye week, which for Washington is Week 10, I believe. Yeah, Week 10 bye week. So get him back maybe Week 11. That's 3 extra weeks than we're talking about. So I sell this as well. I don't think we'll see RG3 back until after the bye. Next question is the next buy or sell, rather. Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. Buy or sell that they are back. John, you first, my friend.
That's what I had to say.
You sell?
Yeah, probably, I guess. I don't know. Is that even a real team, the Patriots? Like, I thought that was a PB, like, down the road team. Do they play in the NFL?
I mean, they do. And
hey, Pistol Pete, name somebody on that team before 2001.
Hey, John, they scored 80 points the past 2 weeks. They're 2-0 against the Bengals and Bills. Two of the better defenses in football they scored 80 points against. I mean, and Brady is like 650 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. I feel like they kind of do look like they're back. Cody, buy or sell that the Patriots and Brady are back?
I'm going to pull a trick out of John's hat here. Is this a real question? Because they never went away. Like I said all year long. They had a few bad games. I'm buying. They never went away. It's the Patriots. Until they prove that they're not the elite of elite, which losing a few games, and have a close game with the Raiders doesn't make you, gone. It's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It doesn't matter. That's who they are. I've been watching this team my whole entire life since they've been together because I'm a Bills fan. They're in my division. They're back. They crushed the Bengals. They put a hurting on a – yeah, it was a beat-up secondary, Buffalo secondary, but they still put a hurting on them. And it just looked like – I mean, Tom Brady of old. Tom Brady's a man. As a human being, he could have a few bad games and still be considered elite. Peyton Manning's rookie season wasn't that great, but he's still the best quarterback in the world. So they never, ever went away. They're not going to go away until Brady or Belichick retires. So I'm buying that they're back, or they never left, however you want to say it.
I'm also buying this. I just named all those stats to John. 10 different wide receivers caught a ball against the Bills. 10 of them. I mean, a lot of guys only had one, but that's spreading the ball around. I think the biggest factor here is Rob Gronkowski being back. And by being, I mean, he's played all season, but being back means 20 catches for 194 yards and a touchdown the last 2 weeks combined in those 2 wins. And, I mean, that's the key right there. Brady has him. That's how that offense is set up. It's set up for Rob Gronkowski to be your best receiver out there. And some of these other guys like Brandon LaFell, they're catching the steam. And actually, Julian Edelman's been great all year catching the ball. I don't think he has a lot of touchdowns, but he's gotten a lot of catches. So
everybody.
He's a slot. They need Gronk. Gronk fills the seam. I mean,
Edelman and Gronkowski were coming to the season. They were going to be the guy. Everybody knew they were the guys. To me, the big surprise of the Patriots is LaFell because the trade last year, and everybody was like, "Oh, he's going downhill. He's not what he is," and he's just coming alive right now. Last 2 games. I mean, I don't have the stats on him, but I watched him, and his route running is impeccable. He's beaten any corner in every corner. I think Brandon LaFell, Gronkowski is the offense there, but LaFell is the reason why they can spread the ball more often.
Well, I think Gronkowski's the reason LaFell's had a good couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah.
Edelman was getting Edelman's getting his because he kind of plays that old Wes Welker role.
Yep.
But once you get Gronk working in the middle and he's hitting the seams and stuff and going straight and doing whatever he does, which is great. It's hard to guard Rob Gronkowski because he is fast. He does have great athleticism for his size, and a lot of times he's getting cued with linebackers. But that's what I think it opens up LaFell on the outside because now they have to put more attention into the middle to stop Gronk. Well, and they have Edelman underneath. I think Danny Amendola was supposed to play a part this season. And we kept hearing about it, and he
can't stop getting concussed.
He can't live.
Here's my question for you real quick, too. Does this hurt them that with Gerard Mayo out for the season now and Ridley out for the season? You think that's going to affect how the Patriots end up doing?
I don't think it helps them. I still think I picked them last week to win or to be into the playoffs by winning that division because I think that 8 games can win that division. So I'm sticking to that. So regardless of what happens with injuries, I think New England's going to be good enough to at least win that division. If you have Brady and Gronk and guys like this playing at this level while they're doing it, that really boosts their chances. And I don't know that they'll contend for the Super Bowl this year, but I think they're definitely into the playoffs. Okay. All right, let's get to the last question here. I think it's the last question. No, that was the last question.
No,
buy sell.
No, buy sell. Raiders winning the game before the Jags.
Oh, you're right. Okay, buy or sell. Jeez, I lost that one. Buy or sell. The Oakland Raiders winning a game before the Jacksonville Jaguars do. John, you first.
I'm gonna buy the Raiders winning before the Jags. I think they're actually not that bad of a team. On paper, you look at their record. Of course they are, but they've been in a couple of these games. They were in a lot of these games. I don't think they're that bad. On the other hand, the Jaguars are awful. There's nothing good about them. There's not one good thing about the Jaguars. So, honestly, I don't see any reason why the Raiders couldn't end up this season 8-8. I think they're a lot better team than the record indicates.
Cody. Buy or sell, the Raiders will win before the Jaguars.
I'm buying that. They hung him with the Patriots. David Carr is a way better quarterback than Blake Bortles.
I don't agree with that.
I think he is. I like David Carr. I've been watching when I cut him. I think he's a good quarterback. Running game is more established with Darren McFadden. They got more targets, and James Jones is having a really good season. They've had some bad breaks and some, their defense is pretty subpar, and obviously their offense isn't great yet, clicking wise, but they're. I play the waiver wire every week for all my fantasy leagues for defenses, and what I look for is who's playing. If somebody's playing Jacksonville, I'm picking that defense because that's how bad Jacksonville is. That's my theory on defenses. So obviously the Raiders, I think, are going to win a game way before the Jags.
See, and my defensive strategy for fantasy football works in a similar way, but I don't just stick to the Jags. I go with the Jags, the Redskins, the Raiders, those teams. I'll play defense against them. I'm selling this. And I'm going to tell you why. And I don't disagree that the Raiders are a better team because they are, but I think that the Jags have one of those offenses where they can score, they're going to score 35 one week. And they're just going to beat somebody because they score 35. Because Bortles can throw the ball. I don't think there's anything wrong with Carr, but I think that Bortles will be as good. I think he has a lot of weapons though. I mean, they have Cecil Shorts, the Allen Hearns. They have guys like that he can pass the ball to. So one of these weeks, I think they're going to score 35. But the real reason I'm picking, actually, I'm gonna get really specific on this. I'm gonna say that the Jags will win in 2 weeks. They'll win Week 8, and I think that the Raiders won't win until like Week 12 or 13.
Oh.
Well, I think the Jags are going to be at home against the Dolphins Week 8. I think they can win that game because I think that's the team they can score 35 on. And I think the Raiders, do you know who they play the next 5 games? The Cardinals, the Browns, the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Chargers. They're going to lose those next 5 games. Like, how are they going to win one of those?
I don't know. Seattle's not playing great.
You think they're going to beat Seattle? John Judd's calling right now that the Raiders are going to beat Seattle. You're on camera, pal. No getting away.
No, they're not going to beat Seattle. Nobody. Seahawks win out.
Okay. So we had two buys, 1 sell. I'm standing alone on an island, but I think I got good reasons. So let's go with our fantasy bounce back player of the week. Before we make our picks, I'll tell you who everybody picked last week. Cody picked LaShawn McCoy, saying he'd get 16. McCoy pretty much got 16, between 15 and 18, depending on your league. John Judd called Michael Crabtree. He said he'd get 10 points. Crabtree got probably between 10 and 13. And then I guess I'm the loser because you two are closer than me. I picked Brandon Marshall. I said he'd get 18 or 20 points. He really got you probably 14 to 17, depending on your league. We all had a really good week with this. Let's go for it again. Cody, who are you going with this week?
I'm going to go with Matt Stafford. He had only 12 points against the Bills. He had 11 against Minnesota last week. And they're playing New Orleans. My issue is New Orleans coming off a bye. Maybe they step up the defense a little more.
They don't have a defense.
Yeah, that's true. It really depends on if they're going to hold Kelvin out or not this week. If Kelvin's going to play, I think Stafford probably has 26 to 30. If Kelvin's out, Golden Tate's going to step up real big, and he probably has 20. So I'll say between 20 and 24 points.
All right, so Cody goes with Matt Stafford. John, who are you going with this week?
I'm going with my boy Russell Wilson.
Uh-oh.
He only threw for 126 yards and no touchdowns. If he hadn't gotten 1 rushing touchdown, he would have had way less than the 10 points he got. But we're playing the Rams this week, and that's a great opportunity for Russell to bounce back. I'm going to say he comes back with 19.
19 points. All right, and I'm going to go with the Redskins running back, Alfred Morris. I think with him it's just about time. He had about 9 points in the last 2 weeks combined. I'm going to call him for like a solid 15, I think. I think that's a pretty consistent week for Alfred Morris. He doesn't really catch the ball out of the backfield much, but if he can get something like 70 to 100 yards and a touchdown, I think everybody will have a sigh of relief because you're talking to a guy who's a second or third rounder. So, all right. Anybody have any comments on anybody else's picks this week?
No, I think it's pretty legit this week. I think we're getting the hang of it.
So now we'll jump into our last little segment here, and that is where we pick the game of the week, our game of the week predictions. Last week, we'll go over this. Cody had the Colts and the Texans game. He's obviously the winner because that game was nuts. John picked the Steelers and Browns. That was a disappointing blowout. And I picked an even more disappointing blowout with the Giants and the Eagles. Yay! Round of applause for mine and John's.
How about Cody wins again? If we keep track at home, Cody wins again.
All right, so you can hashtag Cody wins again on Twitter, and that'll last until next week when we're recording the show because you picked the bad game. Cody, we'll go to you first. Winner, chicken dinner. What game are you picking this week?
Well, because since we know I'm the expert, the resident expert here, I'm going to pick the easiest one of the week to pick, the 49ers versus the Broncos. 49ers down 14 points against St. Louis, come back. Kaepernick's playing great, And it's the Broncos, Peyton Manning. It's in Denver, so I'm going to give the edge to Denver with a 34-28 win.
All right, John.
Yep.
Cody goes with the San Fran-Denver game. Your two biggest adversaries in the world. You probably hate both those teams being a Seattle fan. You're like, we played Denver in the Super Bowl. I hate Harbaugh and the Niners. You hate everybody. You stop. So go ahead. Give us your game of the week.
All right, as much as I really want to pick the Browns-Jaguars, I'm going to go Colts-Bengals. And it's I'm going to have the Colts winning. They're at home. But I think it's going to be a slobber knocker. I'm going to say 35-28.
Did you just bust out the Jim Ross slobber knocker?
Jim Ross.
Solid.
Oh my God.
I thought there were two really easy games. Cody talked about the first one being San Fran and Denver. John picked the second one, which was the Bengals and Colts. I'm going with the same game, Bengals at Colts. I have the Colts winning too. I think it'll be close. I think Cincy really needs a bounce back at this point, but I don't think they'll get it this week. I think Andrew Luck's like the hottest player in football right now, and I'm loving it. So, any comments about the other matchups, John, Cody?
Cincinnati coming off a bye, though, aren't they? That's always, teams always.
Oh, they're not coming off the bye.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
I knew they had like 25 points.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Oh yeah, no. John had him on the bench. I thought they had a bye too. It's a good catch. John is texting me about how he had him on the bench because we were playing each other in fantasy, and he's like, "I just knew and don't know." You should have had those guys on the bench. Well, you don't play those guys.
I had Tom Brady on the bench. Just saying, 44 points later.
That's about to the point. I saw a guy lose a matchup because he played Eli Manning over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So
you can't lose games in NFL and still win.
You cannot. You cannot. All right, well, I think that about wraps us up for this week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to let you know you can go over to www.sports-kings.com. Check out our new and improved site. We're coming up in the world a little bit. Since you're here, you can also subscribe and comment on our videos. Give us a like. Let your friends know, and hopefully everybody will be over here watching the videos soon. Until next week, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in. Later.